So I'm gonna give you a quick short list of things that I believe that have actually helped me 10x my productivity and then allows me to go spend time with people I love and respect the most.
Scoggins is a best-selling author.
He challenges people to break through their obstacles, coming from a broken home, years of struggle,
to launching what would become a multi-million-dollar construction company.
Ladies and gentlemen, Stephen Scoggins in the house.
We're going to talk all about productivity today. Why? Because the only way you're going to get ahead in your life, your business, your relationship, and your career is, well, you're going to become more productive. And never has it been a more difficult season to be more productive than in this day and time in which all the distractions you're facing on a regular basis. In fact, the average American currently, even right now, spends 3.5 to 5 hours a day consuming distractionary content, such as TV, radio, social media, video games. You name it, if it flashes and it looks really bright on the screen, we are probably being distracted by it on a regular basis. And I actually see people who actually set their tone of the day based on basically the media they consume, which is what we don't want to do. So I'm going to give you a quick short list of things that I believe that have actually helped me 10x my productivity in such a way that allows me to get a tremendous amount done in a single day and then allows me to go spend time with people I love and respect the most. Number one thing to do in the day, gratitude. Gratitude. Gratitude specifically is more about making sure you're thankful for the moment that you're in. And I promise you, even during the times of COVID, when people were having a really hard time breathing, they would have given anything to have that deep, deep breath. And yet, many of us take it for granted each and every day because we wake up and we're like, everything's good and we're breathing and we just go about our day. We don't even take a moment to be present in the moment in which we're in. So gratitude is going to become super important. What are 5 or 6 things that you can be ultimately grateful for that has nothing to do with how the world is outside, but has everything to do with what you feel about you and your opportunities and your passions inside? When you understand that, then essentially what's going to happen is you're going to become more grateful, which is going to reduce your fear, your anxiety, as well as a lot of the insecurities that come along with it. So gratitude is a big, big piece. One of the biggest ways I do that, first thing in the morning, is before I even head off to the gym, is I'm going to spend 20 to 30 minutes praying and meditating in that moment, being grateful, breathing deeply, and making sure that I'm getting myself centered so I can become focused and clear and ready to rock and freaking roll, right? That's what productivity is. Being present in the moment, ready to rock and roll at any given moment, and actually getting things done, right? Number 2, get moving. With motion comes emotion, and with emotion comes action. As we begin to break this stuff down, you have to understand that you cannot just roll out of bed, go grab a cup of coffee, chill out, watch some news, read a paper, stuff like that. If you're going to actively be really productive at any given moment, you've got to tell your body it's time to work, it's time to go, it's time to get going. And one of the quickest ways in which I do that is I'll hop in the car, I'll put on either an ebook or, an audio book or a podcast or a video. I'll head off to the gym, and while I'm at the gym, I'm intentionally going to do cardio. I'm intentionally going to get my body moving, my heart rate pumping. And you know what? The crazy thing is that's when I have the best ideas because everything's flowing and going. And when it comes down to it, if you're going to have a super productive day, if you leave your body in lethargy, then it's going to have a lack of energy as you progress through the day. However, if you start the day off high, not only are you getting the blood pumping, but you're also bringing up your serotonin level and you're bringing down your cortisol level. When you bring down your cortisol level, you feel less stressed. And as you go through your day, you want to make sure that you have everything at your disposal. And you need less stress, more focus, and always ready to rock and roll. All right, tip number 3, super important. Tip number 3, watch your priorities. One of the biggest things you can do even the night before is to set the tone of your priorities, a reference list, if you will, in which you can go and watch, look, listen, or something that's going to encourage your mind to actually take the primary action step that you need to take today. One of the things in which I do is, again, I'm always looking to compound my time. I'm looking to get 3 hours for every investment of 1 hour of my time. I'm looking for ways to build a memory muscle that actually takes me to a whole nother level. So when you go to set your priorities, all you want to do is ask yourself, what is the number one thing that's going to build up the most momentum for today that's going to expand my time, my talent, and my resources on a regular basis. And as you do that, you're going to see something very, very unique and very, very cool. If you do the right thing at the right time, in the right moment, then ultimately that thing becomes scalable. So if I go and spend an hour of time with my leadership team, then they help me expand that concept by disseminating that information throughout the team in their business ventures and their endeavors. Do you understand what I just said? I did one effort, but yet I got a 4x return because I'm looking for my core priority. When you look for your core priority, you can and will win. All right, number 4, super important, bucketing. Now, I don't mean that you're bucketing apples or something in a bucket. I am talking about time stamp buckets. One of the things that I do is I knock out my priorities and first thing in the morning, like we've already talked about. The second thing that I do right after that is I will bucket my meetings throughout the course of the day in 15 to 30-minute increments. Why? Because you don't need a 45-minute meeting to cover things that you can cover in 10 minutes if you have an agenda, if you actually have something deliberate that you are trying to discuss and a timeline you're trying to discuss. It's really easy to get distracted in a meeting or around other people when you start talking about all kinds of things. I myself, because I own multiple businesses and I'm trying to build multiple businesses simultaneously, I don't have a lot of free time to just do a lot of extra socialization that does not actually help us achieve a mutual goal. Instead, what I have to do is I have to focus on the meeting, I have to understand the core concepts, I have to discover what the needed action steps are, I also need to understand what my expected results are. And as I do that, I'm able to then bucket my time, get the most of my time, and set myself up to actually have a better and better outcome on a regular basis. Why? Because it's focused intensity over time. Focused intensity over time always gives you exactly what you need to help you win the day and ultimately become a higher producer, which is ultimately going to get you more recognition, more inspiration, higher levels of income, and actually set you up to win every day after that. Now, number 5 is going to sound a little bit ridiculous, but I want you to follow along with me just a second. Because I didn't do it for a very long time, and as a result, I would actually wake up each day feeling overwhelmed and anxious about the day in which I was about to jump into, which already set my emotional state at the wrong level of comprehension that was actually going to help me. I know I was hindering myself. I was in my own way, and it's because of this. I didn't do a brain dump the night before. I know it seems a little nuts, but if you have a high-pressure situation or a high-pressure profession, then ultimately what's going to happen is if you don't take the time to get the junk out of your head, you're going to consume and think about that over and over and over again at night. I can tell you when I was building several of my first businesses, one of the things that used to happen on a regular basis, used to freak me out, was the simple fact that I would wake up at 2 a.m. like, oh, I forgot to do X, Y, Z. Which would totally disrupt my sleep, which would totally throw me off my schedule, which would totally get me out of the loop of learning, out of the loop of meditating, out of the loop of gratitude, out of the loop of praying, out of the loop of in the gym, because I felt like I immediately had to go to work and take care of whatever that thing is. However, if you brain dump, you're able to organize the very things that you're carrying around in your brain to free your mind for open space, for creativity and innovation while you actually sleep or while you're going into rest mode. Meanwhile, you haven't forgotten anything. You can actually take the things that are in the brain dump and arrange them to build the priorities that you're going to use to set yourself up to win on the next day. Does that make sense? I promise you it's a simple technique, it's a simple tip, and it will work if you work it. Stuck to Unstoppable is nothing more than going from not making progress to consistently making progress and then never giving up along the way. So many times, most people want to be a millionaire, they want to be wealthy, but they don't put in the time, energy, or the work it takes to actually scale that to a place in which you can actually win.